was a kid whose family owned a capybara, and one day, him and his parents got permission to bring this animal into class. Everybody figured it would stay for about an hour. Instead, this thing spent the entire day wandering around campus with this kid. Everybody meet Gerald! Teachers loved it, the principal loved it, the students loved it, and by lunch it had become the most popular student in the school. Well, that day was the day that student elections were happening, and somebody thought it would be funny to quickly make a bunch of posters. Vote Gerald the capybara for class president. The teachers and the principal thought that nobody would take this seriously, but then people started writing his name on the ballots. Gerald. A lot of kids did this. Teachers started hearing people talk about it in the hallways. Who are you voting for? Gerald has my vote. Well, election day comes. Votes get counted. And somehow the capybara wins by a lot of votes. The principal had to stand in front of the school and explain that unfortunately the class president has to be a student. So the student with the next most votes won, and they anointed the capybara as vice president. Way to go, Gerald! There was a weird kid at school that everybody avoided. He was really quiet. Well, one day, he brings a cake into class and sets it on the teacher's desk. What is this? I made it. Oh, okay. Whose birthday is it? Nobody's. I just made it. Oh, nice. Well, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna bring it to the teacher's lounge, okay? Huh? He comes back. Class moves on. The cake is now sitting in the teacher's lounge. Everybody's kind of skeptical. They're like, I'm not eating that cake. Well, 3 teachers decide, hey, why not? I like cake. So they start eating it. Within an hour and a half, those teachers start leaving their classrooms. Their stomachs are going crazy. Oh no. Subs have to come in. The office is kind of scrambling. The teachers spend the next few hours in the bathroom. Then somebody connects the dots. It's the cake. They keep it. They have somebody test it. The next day they find out the cake was filled with laxatives. The kid gets pulled out of class. Yo, come with me. Oh, okay. And then he's gone. And he never shows up to school ever again. Why in the world would he do that? This kid's grandpa was a courtroom sketch artist. And for some reason, instead of his grandpa teaching him normal stuff, his grandpa taught him how to sketch. Hey, good job, kid. You're doing great. Hey, thanks, Gramps. Well, see, this kid was in middle school. He really wanted to draw stuff for court cases, but, So one day he talks to his smartest friend. And the friend goes, why don't you make your own court? And they did. That smart kid became the judge. A couple of other friends became attorneys. And every day during lunch, they would set up in the corner, and then they start spreading the word. Anybody who has a beef with anybody, take it to lunch court. We'll settle this. Then word started to spread. Any type of beef that any friends would have, they would come to lunch court. Kids would walk up, explain their side. The attorneys would argue. The judge would make a ruling. And this entire time, this kid's just sitting back, sketching everything like it was an actual trial. And it would get intense. One kid brought his own witness statements from different classmates. Evidence started to be involved in these cases. There was a wait list of students waiting for their trial date. The kid who was the judge started carrying around this notebook filled with all the cases he's doing. Suddenly, he's stressing out. And this kid had a giant binder filled with these courtroom images. And honestly, that sounds like so much fun. This teacher absolutely hated mayonnaise. It's the worst! Like, it was a phobia. One day the class is talking about things that they don't like. Kids are saying bugs, spiders, snakes. And the teacher says, well, mine is kind of weird. I hate mayonnaise. The smell makes me sick. Everybody laughs. Class moves on. Except the one kid becomes weirdly obsessed with this information. Mrs. Johnson hates mayonnaise, huh? The next day, he walks into that class carrying a full jar of mayonnaise. He sits down and just sets it right on his desk. Doesn't say a word. The teacher notices this, but she ignores it. She figures this kid's just trying to mess with me. I'm not even gonna put any energy into it. But then he does it again the next day, and the day after that. Every morning, that mayonnaise jar is just sitting on his desk right next to his notebook, staring at the teacher. Now, after days of completely ignoring this mayonnaise thing, teacher finally breaks. Okay, I have to ask, why do you keep bringing mayonnaise into my classroom? He looks up and in complete seriousness, he says, because one day, miss, I'm gonna drown you in mayonnaise. Now, the kid didn't actually end up drowning her in mayonnaise, but he did keep bringing that jar to school, and she kept having to look at it. It was there in that classroom every day for the rest of the year. This kid in band was obsessed with yo mama jokes. Yo mama so squiggly, she squiggle on me. And he would say them every day. Yo mama so old, she pre-ordered the Bible. Yo mama so ugly, not even goldfish crackers smile back. Then a hurricane happened. Schools closed for a while, and everybody comes back. Everyone's talking about it, seeing who lost power, who's got flooding, all that stuff. Band class starts up again. The teacher's getting everybody settled in. All right, class, settle down, settle down. I'm glad to see all of you are well. Well, then this kid walks in, the yo mama kid. He's got the biggest smile on his face. The whole class can see what's coming. The teacher asks, Kevin, how you doing, buddy? Kid goes, yo mama. And before he could even finish, the teacher cuts him off without missing a beat. He says, died in the hurricane. I'm so sorry. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Yeah, the teacher's mom passed away during the hurricane. The kid's just sitting there, shocked. He quietly turns around, walks back to his seat, sits down. And according to every single person in that room, the yo mama joke kid never made a yo mama joke ever again. This kid's family owned a bounce house company. Every summer, they had this warehouse packed with the inflatable bouncy houses. There were obstacle courses with slides, tons of those giant blower fans to keep these things inflated. Well, one year, during the last week of school, this kid gets a brilliant idea. Monday morning comes, he walks into school carrying a giant roll of raffle tickets. $5 a ticket. Kids keep asking, so, what do you win? You'll see Friday. But I promise, it's awesome. People are curious and they're buying tickets. Some people are pooling money with their friends because they know that this has got to be good. Friday comes. It's the last day of school, and right as the final bell rings, he gathers everybody that bought a ticket. He reaches into a bucket and pulls out the first one. That kid starts screaming. Then another, then a third. 3 winners. Now he finally explains the prize. Okay, so each winner gets to pick one day this summer. And on that day, I'm going to drop off a giant bounce house to your yard for the whole day. And people went crazy because winning didn't just mean you got a bounce house in your yard for the day. It meant your house became the place that every kid wanted to be. It was going to be a party. And those 3 parties ended up being the biggest and best ones of that summer that nobody ever forgot. The next year, he did it again, and he sold way more tickets than the first year. He made hundreds and hundreds of dollars selling raffle tickets for things his family already had. And that, my friends, is why you gotta respect the hustle. This kid noticed something about the Gatorade machine at his school. Only 2 flavors, yellow and blue. Now, nobody touched the yellow ones because the yellow Gatorades suck. So whenever they went there, they were getting the blue ones. Well, one morning before first period, he walks to the Gatorade machine and he notices that there's only 8 blue Gatorades left, but there's a ton of yellow ones. Well, he took a risk and he decided to buy every single blue Gatorade left, all 8. He carries them to his locker and he puts them in this little cooler he would bring to school every day that held his lunch. It kept the Gatorades cold. Well, at lunch, everybody went to the vending machine. They were ticked off. Wait, only yellow left? That sucks! Kids are standing there like, yo, what happened? That's when this kid came out of nowhere. Yeah, sorry guys, there was only 8 blue Gatorades left this morning, so I got them all. Yo, can I buy one from you? How much you gonna give me? $1.50 like the vending machine takes? No, you see, because now there's supply and demand. I gotta charge you more than the vending machine. Fine, I'll give you $3. Yeah, dude, I'm so thirsty. 4? Deal. He sold all of those Gatorades for an upcharge, and he made pure profit that day. It wasn't crazy money. The next day, he tried to do it again, but at that point, the school had restocked all the blue Gatorades, so it would have been insane to buy 30 of them. But hey, that's the mindset you need, my friends, and you gotta respect the frickin' hustle, baby. There was this kid whose locker was in the best spot of the school. It sat directly under one of the school's air conditioning vents. It's nice and chilly over here. Nobody paid attention to it, not really even him, until one day he throws a Gatorade on the top shelf of his locker. Comes back a couple hours later. Oh, this is ice cold. And it's cold. So the next day he tries it again with a soda, a warm soda. He puts it in the morning, he checks it after lunch. Oh, that's a crispy soda. That's when he gets an idea. Instead of filling the top shelf of his locker with his own drinks, he starts renting shelf space. $1 to keep your drink in there until lunch. $2 if you want it until the end of the day, to have a cold drink for practice or something. People didn't believe him at first. Dude, there's no way your locker is like a refrigerator. Until one dude tried it. He went to pick up his Dr. Pepper before lunch, and it was cold. No, guys, it actually worked. It was first come, first serve until the top shelf of the locker was rented out completely. And there was always someone who couldn't get a spot because it was booked up. Kids lined up before the first bell at his locker, holding milk, Gatorade. One kid said, "Will it freeze my ice cream?" He had it organized. He put sticky notes on with the person's name so he knows whose was whose. Teachers found out, but they were just amazed. Like, yo, what a smart kid. And what a strong air conditioning vent. And according to the students, that was the most valuable locker in the school. Yeah, I believe it. And guess what? You gotta respect the hustle. This kid had the weirdest job at school. He fixed people's reputations. See, anytime somebody embarrassed themselves, they would feel horrible. They would feel like everyone's talking about them. It wasn't a nice feeling. Like if someone was tripped in the hallway, called the teacher mom, threw up at lunch, everybody would spend the rest of the day talking about it. Unless this kid got involved. Because what he would do is if he was paid enough money or given something valuable enough, he would start an even crazier rumor about somebody else. Not really mean rumors, just unbelievable ones that would make everybody forget what that one kid went through. Dude, you hear that one kid, Tyler, brought a turtle to class? No, it wasn't a turtle, it was a bag of turtle poop. And once something like that spread around, the previous embarrassment, the one the kid paid to get rid of, went away. And it worked brilliantly because people's attention spans are shorter than you think. When other people found out who this reputation fixer was, he began to have clients. People kept his phone number in their phone just in case they would ever need him. And a lot of kids did. Bro, you gotta help me. Text me the details, send me $15, and by lunch, you'll be good. He would then get the text, the money, he would disappear. By lunch, wow. Kid's a genius. Gone. You gotta respect the hustle. This kid started a newspaper at school, and it wasn't the school newspaper. Every Friday, he would show up with around 20 copies of this newspaper he would print at home. And here's the thing. Everything in this newspaper was 100% true. It was all just completely unnecessary. One headline said, "Mr. Jenkins bought new shoes." All right. Another one was how the science teacher switched from black coffee to coffee with vanilla creamer. There was an entire article covering the fact that some kid's dad bought a brand new lawnmower, and one about another kid's grandpa who got a new hearing aid. Nobody needed to know any of this stuff, but people couldn't stop reading it. Hey, did you read Johnny's newspaper this week? Yeah, I read that Steven's cat no longer has fleas. The headlines were crazy. Stuff like, Mrs. Carter has worn the same watch every day for 8 years. Or, the principal parks in a different spot every time it rains. Or, every Wednesday the janitor whistles the same song. Teachers would buy and read these newspapers as well. Hey, how did you know I bought new shoes? The kid would be like, oh, I pay attention. Pretty soon everyone got paranoid because they're like, this kid knows everything. People started acting different because they didn't want to be a headline. But this kid didn't post rumors or gossip. It was just simple stuff. It was harmless. Nobody was getting roasted. It was just information. You know what? You gotta respect the hustle. He was the coolest kid in school. He played guitar better than most adult musicians. And everybody loved him. If there was a talent show or a bonfire, he would bring his guitar and he would play the most beautiful music. Then one 4th of July weekend, he was out with some friends, and somebody brought fireworks. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but this kid was holding fireworks in his hand, and apparently they went off too early. All right, guys. A couple months later, he came back to school. He blew off every single one of his fingers. He would walk around with a hoodie on, his hands buried in his pocket. He never looked at anybody. People would say hi to him, but he would just keep walking. And nobody knew what to say because they'd all loved hearing him play guitar. And the truth is, he couldn't play anymore. And it absolutely ruined him because he realized he would never be able to pick up a guitar again. And that was his passion. So kids, if you're seeing this before the 4th of July, be careful. If you're seeing it after, I hope you were careful. Take care. This kid was hanging out with his friend, playing video games, eating pizza, watching a movie. Yo, this night is so fun. Then his friend's mom walks into the living room. She's carrying snacks. Right as she sets the bowl on the coffee table, she lets out an absolute monster fart. This kid immediately bites his lip. Because in his house, the entire family would be laughing. Because farts are funny. Nobody reacted. She let out a monster fart, and nobody did anything. His friend was messing with the TV. Dad was just sitting there. Not to mention, The smell. The smell was so weird. He starts laughing because he can't help it, and everyone looks at him like he's crazy. What? What's up? Something happened? Hey, what's so funny? This is supposed to be a drama. Oh, nothing. He asks his friend about it later, and his friend was just like, I don't know, I guess we just don't think farts are funny. But even if it's like a super big weird one like your mom did, I guess, to him, he said that was so strange. What do you think? This kid got a summer job at a golf course when he was 13 years old. I'm 13. I work at a golf course. His whole job was simple. When golfers finished their round, they would drop off their golf carts. He would hose it down, then they would get the golf carts and take it away. After a couple of weeks, his bosses trusted him with the golf carts, even to drive them sometimes. Then one afternoon, he's taking this really nice golf cart back to the clubhouse. Well, there's a pond between him and the cart barn. Cuts the corner a little too tight. One tire slips off the path. He jerks the wheel. The whole cart is sliding. He's hitting the brake, but nothing's happening. I'm hitting the brake. Nothing's happening. And then splash. Him and the golf cart in the pond. He jumps out just before this thing sinks. Now he's standing there soaking wet, staring at what he just did, and he's terrified. But wait till he finds out whose golf cart that was. Club manager comes running over after hearing the ruckus. What happened over here? Please tell me that wasn't cart 12. That was cart 12. Turns out that was the mayor's brand new golf cart that he was keeping there at the club, and now it was sitting at the bottom of a pond. The mayor comes out. Hey, is that my cart in the water? I want him fired. What? Listen, I'm sorry, kid, but you're fired. I mean, yeah, I guess that does make a little sense. One day, this kid randomly stopped wearing his backpack, and nobody knew why. One weekend, this kid's parents bought a new microwave. So on Monday morning, he starts carrying around all his stuff that would usually be in his backpack, but instead, now it's in this empty cardboard microwave box. Not the microwave, just the box it was in. People are staring at him. They're like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Teachers are like, where's your backpack? I like this better. And honestly, it worked better for him. Box stood up by itself. Everything in there was organized. He never had to dig around looking for pencils. So here's the funny part. The next week, some kid shows up to school carrying a toaster oven box with all of his backpack stuff in it. Then the next day, another kid came with a vacuum cleaner box. One guy carried around a crock pot box for like a month. Pretty soon, the hallways of the school looked like a frickin' appliance store. Teachers completely gave up trying to understand what was going on, but this kid was just being weird. He accidentally changed the entire school. He started a crazy trend, but it started to get out of hand because people tried to one-up each other and bring bigger and bigger boxes. Kid brought his stuff in a lawnmower box, and it had to be completely shut down. One kid was trying to be funny and was going to bring all of his stuff in a refrigerator box, but he got stopped at the door. But boy, what a glorious semester that was. That's hilarious. So this school was doing Spirit Week. Pajama Day, Wacky Wednesday, stuff like that. Well, on Wacky Wednesday, this one kid showed up in a full suit of armor. Boots, gloves, gauntlets, the whole thing, 3 layers, night helmet. It was epic. And the school let him keep it on. Well, after second period, these 3 8th graders, who were the school bullies, decided to make fun of him. Hey, nice outfit, Tin Man. What you got under there?
Yeah, nice outfit, metal boy.
Well, he's just standing there, not saying a word. The bullies didn't like this, so they start to attack him. What's your problem, dude? Yeah, what's your problem?
My foot.
One punches his shoulder, his hand is shaking, it might be broken. Some kid kicks him in the groin, his foot is hurting. And the third one, big guy, punches his knee and literally breaks his wrist.
Ow!
My foot! My foot! My wrist, guys? Guys, my wrist! It's broken! It's broken! Principal shows up and calls it a school fight. The kid in the armor gets suspended for a week, even though he did not touch any of them. He literally just stood there in his knight armor that the school let him wear. And the bullies, they didn't get in trouble at all. And that, my friends, is messed up. He was 11 years old and he built the best sandcastle of all time. Yes, it's beautiful. It had walls, tower, a drawbridge. There was seaweed that was decorating it. It was pure art. Well, once he finished, he stepped back to admire it. And here comes this menacing teenager. Nice sandcastle, loser. And just kicks the crap out of it. Sandcastle completely destroyed. Yo, what the heck? The teenager left. This kid was upset, but he decided to take action. So he rebuilt, bigger, stronger, And this time, he buried the heaviest, pointiest rock right in the middle of the sandcastle. Covered it perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell it was there at all. And now this sandcastle looked even better than the first one. It's perfect. But as he suspected, the menacing teenager came by again. Oh, so you're just gonna rebuild it and think I wasn't gonna come back? The teenager pulled his leg back, he's getting ready, and he just kicks it. Remember the rock the kid buried in there? Destroyed this kid's foot. Oops, shouldn't have kicked it, man. The kid limped away, crying to his mom. Some people gotta learn the hard way. Hey, awesome. These two 12-year-olds started a lemonade stand one summer, and at first it was basic, like they had the table, the sign, they were making lemonade, and people were buying it. They spent days perfecting the recipe. They were treating it like a chemistry project. But the thing is, the lemonade was incredible. Kids, this lemonade is incredible. People on their street loved it, but business began to slow down a lot. Then one of them goes, why are we selling this stuff to a cul-de-sac of 20 people when there's a whole downtown area? Good idea, let's move shop. So one Saturday morning, they moved the entire operation downtown, the middle of town square. And now they're selling BLT sandwiches. And business was absolutely booming. They're making so much money. Word spreads fast. There's lines. They're selling out. At one point, a nearby cafe owner goes, "You're putting us out of business, guys!" And the kids take that as a compliment. But then the city gets involved. Because apparently, once you start having this sort of business in a public downtown area, you need a license. Health inspectors show up. And these two kids are just standing there like, we're 12. Inspector's like, doesn't matter. And the city shuts the stand down immediately for not having permits or licenses. But the kids made so much money that they got over it pretty quick. When this kid was 5, his parents convinced him that if he didn't do chores or he didn't help them around the house, the lazy monster would get him and he would die. It's true. Just straight up death. So he goes into survival mode. Every day, whenever he has free time, he's sweeping, dusting, reorganizing, folding laundry, and his parents loved it. They're sitting there chilling and their 6-year-old kid is doing the house chores. And this happens for years. Years later, he's 11 now, tells his friends about the lazy monster. Yeah, I can't hang out because I gotta go wash the bathroom, otherwise the lazy monster is gonna get me. His friends are like, what? He explains more. Then his friends say, dude, that's actually crazy that you believe that. Your parents are tricking you, dude. And it clicked. His entire worldview collapses, and he immediately feels like he wasted years of his life. He storms home and he demands his parents tell him why they did this. And all they could say was, you'll get over it. That's definitely not okay. For some reason, in the middle of class, he pulled out a classical guitar, and he began playing classical guitar music in front of everybody. He was probably trying to show off his guitar skills in front of the students. Well, some kid in the back was whispering during it. Dude, last weekend was so freaking fun. That squirrel was awesome. Well, Mr. Thorne heard this. It was during the most delicate part of the song. He took a guitar and he threw it right at this kid. It hit the wall and shattered. The guitar was expensive too, and the teacher just broke it. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Thorne then began to walk to the back of the classroom towards the kid. Mr. Thorne then reached down, grabbed the metal legs of the desk, and flipped the desk with the kid still in it. The kid was now pinned under the desk, and he was crying. The rest of the class still stunned. Mr. Thorne then walked back to the front of the room, looked at everybody and said, page 42, now. And he expected everyone was just gonna do it. But no, the kid who was flipped walked out, got the principal came, and Mr. Thorne was fired. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. Top 3 principles on a power trip. Number 1, this principal banned all backpacks because the hallways were messy and crowded. So now kids had to carry classes worth of stuff in their arms all day. Folders ripping open, papers on the floor. Meanwhile, this principal still walks around with her leather briefcase. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. It became such an issue, parents kept calling the school, asking why backpacks weren't allowed. After a few days, so many kids started asking the principal about her briefcase that the rule died. The next one, this principal was tired of students being late to first period, so he forced every single teacher to lock every single classroom door the second the bell rings. And if you don't do it, there's gonna be problems. Didn't matter if it was raining outside or if your bus was late. If you weren't there before the bell, you weren't getting into class, and you had to go to the office. One morning, a school board member showed up for a surprise visit, and when she walked through the hallways, she saw tons of students banging on their classroom doors trying to get in. What is going on here? Number 1. There was a principal who decided students were too loud during lunch, so he made the cafeteria completely silent, and detentions were handed out to anyone that spoke even one word. Milk detention! Hundreds of kids eating in total silence. It was completely insane, until one day this kid brought a whoopee cushion. He thought it would be funny to prank his friend during silent lunch, so his friend sits down. It was a slow, loud whoopee cushion fart. Everyone was silent for a few seconds after that. Then they just burst out laughing. Even the principal. Okay, we can talk again. I guess all it took was some light-hearted fart joke to turn the mean old man into a softie again. This kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual, and this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe, because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move, and kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. Hey! Holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again.
When he was 7, he did something so dumb. It was a public swimming pool. Family locker room, wet floors, benches everywhere. This kid's in there and he notices something sitting under a bench. What is it? It's a thumbtack, just sitting there. Nobody was around, nobody was paying attention. Instead of picking this up and throwing it away, he takes it and places it pointy side up right in the middle of the floor. Then he goes away. About 30 minutes pass. Families keep moving in and out of the locker, bare feet, and he starts to think to himself, maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe somebody could get hurt. So he goes back in, but he's way too late. Oh no. Oh, Mom, I'm bleeding. A kid had stepped right on it, and his foot was bleeding. Oh my God, what a horrible person would do something like this. The kid never said a word. He just stood there, panicking internally. You'll be okay, son. Whoever did this is a complete and utter idiot. I mean, yeah, that's pretty messed up.
In 8th grade, there was a social studies teacher that never gave homework. Like ever. And she was universally loved for it. Then one random Tuesday, she assigns the class homework. And the next day, nobody turned it in. Not one person. And she just detonates. Well, I bet you all did your math homework last night, didn't you? Because everyone respects math. Who cares about social studies? Everyone's like, what the heck is going on? Then, without warning, she steps on a desk, grabs the overhead projector, tears it down, and slams it on the floor. She grabs her keys, walks out the door, and she never returns for the rest of the school year. That's absolute nuts. Freshman year, this kid dumped every single drop of soap on the floor of the boys' bathroom. Soap, 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 soap everywhere. Yeah, it was a mess. There was soap everywhere. It was a slippery crime scene. You would think the janitor would come in, clean it up, they would punish whoever did this, and they would refill the soap. But that's not what they did. In fact, they took the soap out of every other boys' bathroom in the school. And they left all of the soap dispensers empty for 4 years. One kid makes a huge mess one time, and now every single boy at the school cannot wash their hands with soap. Yo, this isn't fair at all. It's actually disgusting. And whenever someone complained, the teachers were like, well, you can thank whoever made the mess the first time. And kids started bringing their own soap in their backpacks, but most people didn't. And that's when one kid decided to start a soap business. He bought a bunch of tiny soaps from the dollar store, and he sold them for $1. So he wasn't making any profit, but he was able to provide soap to anybody that had $1. And to this day, pretty sure there still isn't any soap at that school. That's nuts. Every single morning, this kid bought the same thing from the vending machine. Sugar-free lemonade. Yum. The same vending machine, the same drink, every morning. It was his routine. Well, one morning, he drops his coins in. What the heck? Clink, clink, nothing. The machine is not recognizing this money at all. He tries to press the button to get his coins back, but nothing was happening. Okay, must be working. So he goes to the office and tells them. They say that they have no control over the vending machines at all. So he wrote on a piece of paper, "Do not use out of order," and he tapes it to that vending machine. Okay, perfect. Now nobody else will waste their money here. Hero moment. The next morning he goes to the vending machine and the paper is gone. So he assumes, oh cool, they must have fixed it. What the heck? Still broken. His coins just gone. Nothing's registering, he cannot get his drink. So he's irritated now. He makes another piece of paper. Do not use out of order. He tapes it on there. This time he checks on it at lunch and the piece of paper is gone. But the machine is still broken. Somebody is taking his paper off but not fixing the machine. People are probably wasting their money here. He didn't want people to make the same mistake he was doing, but he was like, why are they taking this down? So he goes to the principal again, makes the principal call the vending machine company. They come out and they fix it. Yeah. But all the money he put in there was gone. They wouldn't give him a refund. But hey, at least he got the vending machine fixed. And he got to have the sugar-free lemonade again.
This girl's in 8th grade. She's tiny, pretty short. Like she barely comes up to anybody's shoulders. Well, her dad is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu teacher, and he taught her jiu-jitsu when she was very young. I want you to be able to defend yourself, sweetie, only if you need to. And she was really good at it. She had these skills, but she never had to use it until one day. This senior dude won't leave her alone. Hey, what's up? So what are you doing? Hey, what's happening? Get away from me. He's getting in her face. The teachers see this, but they don't do anything. He then grabs her arm really hard. Hey, get back here. And that's when it ends. One clean move. And this kid's on the floor, knocked out. The hallway is dead silent now. Everyone's watching. Well, here's the wild part. That kid goes home that night, and this kid's parents lose it. They demand a meeting. They say that their son was attacked. They want the girl expelled. And the school sides with them until her dad stands up. My daughter isn't going anywhere. I was walking around earlier. I see cameras in every single hallway. Why don't we run it back to see what really happened? And if you still think my daughter should be expelled, I'm gonna sue this entire school and him for assault. And this dad was intense. They believed him. Then it switched. This girl was not getting expelled. Instead, the guy does. Good on her for sticking up for herself, and good on the dad for being awesome.
She's on her first date at this guy's place, and he's cooking dinner. What's for dinner? Food. Now his place has this rustic cabin vibe. Wooden floors, dim lights. There's a weird smell that she noticed, but she thinks it's just an old house. I'm noticing a weird smell. It's probably because it's an old house. Well, at that moment, this guy's dog walks into the room and just unloads a 30-second pee right in the middle of the floor. She's trying to get his attention. Stop. No. Your dog, he's peeing. He doesn't turn around, he just says, oh yeah, he does that sometimes. Well, then she asks if there's a towel she can help him clean up the pee. Since you're cooking, I can clean it up. But he says this, nah, you can just leave it. I'll spray some Febreze on it later, let it dry by itself. And that's when it hits her. The smell wasn't the cabin. That soft spot on the floor wasn't just old wood. It was the dog's bathroom. And dogs sometimes pee inside, but he never cleaned his dog's pee up. He just put Febreze on it. She politely sat there and ate dinner. Then she leaves and never texts him ever again. That's nasty. You skipped school yesterday. Yeah, I know. I have the perfect punishment for you. So this kid skipped school one day, and he wasn't even subtle about it. He didn't fake sick, he didn't have a note, he just didn't show up. And he was posting Snapchats during the school day of him at like McDonald's, riding his bike in the park, playing video games, and that got to the principal. So the principal was like, yo, this dude is dead. Next morning, he walks in and he gets called to the office. The principal's waiting. You skipped school yesterday. Yeah, you know what that means. Makeup work? No, suspension. So I didn't come to school yesterday. Correct. And now you're punishing me by telling me not to come to school. Exactly. You're suspended. We'll see you next week. He walks out confused, like, is that even a punishment? He got suspended for 2 days, so Thursday and Friday were off, then he had the weekend. It was a nice long weekend for him. The best part, his parents were working late all week. So he literally just stayed home, ate cereal, and played Xbox. Now, I'm not advocating going to get suspended to stay home and do stuff. I'm just saying, for this offense, for skipping school, getting suspended feels like a really weird punishment. An in-school suspension suspension probably be better, but I don't know. It was just crazy to me. What do you guys think? You are a sad excuse for a student. Can you please leave him alone? No. This happened in a 7th grade social studies class. You see, this teacher, she had a reputation. She didn't like to grade papers, so at the start of every class, students had to grade each other's papers for her, and it always had to be done in red pen. Well, one day this kid, quiet, he's kind of awkward, he has trouble focusing, probably like me, he's probably got ADHD. He asks the person next to him, hey, can I borrow a red pen? Before he even gets an answer, the teacher snaps loudly, don't you dare give him a pen! The whole class just stares. She just starts going off on him. You are a sad excuse of a student, too lazy to even remember your own pen? You will go nowhere in life if you can't remember basic supplies. You are an absolute disgrace. It doesn't stop. She keeps going 10 minutes, then 15 minutes. Pathetic. Worthless. Embarrassment. Other students are getting incredibly uncomfortable. Please leave him alone. Okay, miss, he gets it. Just please stop. But she doesn't. She continues to tear him down in front of everybody. And when it's over, he just sits there, right in the face, tears building in his eyes. Doesn't say a word for the rest of class. Multiple students reported this, parents called the school, but nothing happened. There were no consequences. No apology either. She kept teaching, and he just kept to himself. That is completely messed up. You are not allowed in the nurse's office anymore. He thought she was joking. She wasn't. This kid got banned from medical care. So in 6th grade, there was this kid, let's call him Owen. Always had some weird stomach thing, or headache, or sore throat. Honestly, yeah, he faked it a lot. He'd go to the nurse's office like it was his part-time job. But one day the nurse goes, Owen, we've seen you 9 times this month. From now on, no more nurse visits unless it's an emergency. He's like, okay, what? Well, 2 weeks later, gym class. They're playing dodgeball and Owen face plants into the floor. He's seeing stars, he's holding his head. Oh man, he's in a lot of pain. Coach goes, I'm gonna take him to the nurse. He walks into the nurse's office, and the nurse literally said this, Coach, he's playing you. I promise you, he's playing you like a fiddle. He doesn't need the nurse right now. He's completely fine, okay? I don't want to hear it. I have a phone call in 5 minutes. Okay. So for sure, the nurse was being 1000% out of line there. Super dangerous. Anyway, Coach takes Owen back to the gym. How you feeling, buddy? You okay? Well, now Owen's slurring his words like, I'm fine. I think I just need a nap. Eventually, the coach freaks out. He doesn't even want to deal with the nurse anymore. You guys just sit in the bleachers for the rest of class, okay? I'm taking him to the hospital. He leaves the rest of the class there in the gym, and he drives this kid to the hospital himself. Turns out, Owen actually had a mild concussion, and the coach doesn't take this lightly. He brings it up to the school board. The school board is now in panic mode. The nurse is being investigated. Owen is no longer banned from the nurse's office. This could have very well been a lawsuit. Owen fully recovered. But you know him, once he realized the nurse ban was off, he was still in there multiple times a week just to skip class. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Why is the principal sprinting down the hall? He's here! Because the mayor's here. So the mayor was coming to visit this school. Everybody's acting that the Queen of England's gonna show up. And the week before, there was an actual assembly. The principal gets on the stage and he goes, please do not pull the fire alarm during the mayor's visit unless there's an actual fire, okay? Everyone just kind of looks around and is like, why would he say that? Was somebody planning to? Thing is, there hasn't been a single fire drill in months, let alone somebody actually pulling it. No one had even thought about it. Of course, until now. Day of the visit, school is spotless. The staff is in full PR mode and the mayor is shaking hands. Thank you so much for having me. I'm the mayor. Thanks for having me, I'm the mayor. And then it goes off. The mayor's mid-photo like, oh, what? Teachers are sprinting, the principal's yelling, no. And the best part's nobody's panicking. The students aren't panicking at all. They calmly line up and walk out. They're like, of course this would happen today, of course. Eventually they found the kid who did this. All he says is, they made such a big deal about it, I had to do it. I just had to do it. And that's how the mayor's visit became a school-wide evacuation. This is getting out of hand. Before first period, everything was fine. But the second first period was over, it happened. Bro, no way. Every school water fountain was filled with salsa. Not one, not two, every single water fountain in the building. And here's the frickin' thing. Written on the wall above the water fountain in very thick Sharpie was 6-7. And obviously, as you can imagine, everybody went crazy. Yo, whoever did this was insane. Yo, but what does it mean? Teachers are scrambling, the students are losing it, the custodians are working extra hard to clean this up. And by the end of second period, everything is clean. Well, the school's like, we need to figure out who did this. So after school that day, they check the cameras. A hooded kid wearing a face mask. He moves quick. He's got tons of jars of salsa in his backpack and he's just dumping them in every single water fountain and scooting away. Then he slips into the theater hallway, the one with no cameras, and he vanishes. They don't see him again. Nobody gets identified. Nobody confesses. Everybody's talking about it, but nobody's claiming it. And that's when it starts. Kids begin showing up to school with jars of salsa in their backpacks, and every single salsa jar has 6-7 written on the lid. Before you know it, it's a full-blown culture. Who's got the rare stuff that nobody's seen before? Yo, yours looks different. Yeah, my uncle sent it to me from Mexico City. People are trading, people are hoarding jars in their lockers. The school eventually tries to ban salsa. I can't believe I'm saying this, but salsa jars are banned. But that didn't stop anybody. People kept bringing their 6-7 salsa jars to school. Apparently, it has now calmed down a little bit, but I guess the school is still scrambling to stop all of this madness. That is insane. Behind the stage in the auditorium, there was this old supply closet. Small, dark, the door was kind of hidden. Nobody ever used it. But this one high school junior, he finds it. He cleans it up and he starts bringing stuff in. He puts cushions on the floor, extra pillows, a lamp from his house, and he had this nice big blanket that had cats on it. At first, it's just for him. He's got a second period independent study, and he starts taking full-on naps in there. But eventually, he tells 2 of his friends. Then a couple seniors hear about it, and people start asking. He turns this cushiony nap room into a rental. $10 gets you that room for an entire period. One person at a time, quiet, clean, no stress. And here's the genius part. He would set up guards. A kid who would sit by in a folding chair, pretending to read lines. But really, this person's just there to keep an eye on things, make sure the person doesn't get disturbed in the nap room, and make sure that teachers don't come by looking around. And they rotate guard duty based on who had the period free. It's a whole system and nobody ever gets caught. In this house, the entire family did something crazy. Every night, an alarm went off at 2 a.m. School nights, weekdays, holidays, it did not matter. Everyone had an alarm. And when it rang, you got up. You would then head down to the kitchen. Your milk. Once everybody was down there, the lights would turn on and the fridge would open. And the entire family would just grab stuff they wanted to eat. Didn't matter. Leftovers, cereal, meatballs, whatever existed in the fridge was free game at 2 a.m. Then they would sit around the table, half asleep, and eat whatever snacks they had. And they talked about nothing. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, they all went back to bed every single day. 10 p.m. they would sleep, 2 a.m. kitchen, morning, work, and school. And this kid, he never questioned it because he thought that that's just how families work. Well, when he slept over at a friend's house for the first time, he set his alarm for 2 a.m. And when it went off, he went down to the kitchen. And nobody was there. He waited there for about 6 minutes, but nobody came down. I've been waiting here for about 6 minutes, but nobody's coming down. So he just goes back to bed, and in the morning, he brings it up to his friend. And his friend thought he was crazy. Well, yeah. This guy says that even now, years later, sometimes he will randomly wake up at 2 a.m., like his body's trying to get him to go to the kitchen. Just an instinct. And sometimes he does go down there and grabs a snack. That's nice. Genius. So this kid had leftover candy from Halloween. Suckers, sweets, stuff like that. And at first, he brought a little bag to school to share with his friends. But then other kids started asking, yo, let me get a little taste. Do you have that ding dong? More and more kids started asking him for his candy or his treats. So he flips a switch and turned it into a business. He calls it the 25-cent store. Every item's a quarter. Well, he makes about $50 in a week, so he reinvests this money. He goes to the dollar store. He buys bags and bags of candy and brings it back to school. He raises prices and he keeps selling. All right, brand new inventory, but this time it's 75 cents each. But it's worth it, I promise. And still, he sells out. From that batch, he ends up making $144. And he's not done. He still has more product. And he plans to invest this money. But then a teacher comes up to him. Excuse me, why are kids handing you quarters? Hi. That's what I thought. That teacher shut him down. It was over. The thing is, it was a harmless business, and people actually liked this service. Teachers just don't like kids to succeed these days, huh? This kid goes to the arcade one weekend and finds something sitting on the carpet right next to one of the machines. It's a key. At first, he thinks it's just a random key, but then he realized it looked a little different, so he tries it in one of the machines. It works! The machine opens to the area where it keeps all of its tickets, and it works on every single machine in the arcade. So now he realizes, I have so much power, but I better be careful. Now this is the town arcade that all of the kids go to. And the prizes that arcade gives out for tickets are these unique prizes that you can't find anywhere else. So what he does is he plays it safe by slowly stealing tickets little by little until he has a giant amount. He would then take these tickets to school. Look what I have. Is this for the town arcade? Dude, give me some. What do you got? And he's trading these tickets for basically everything. Lunch, desserts, homework answers. One kid traded him a pair of barely worn Jordans. Here, have them right off my feet. Oh, this gets you a bunch of tickets here. Now, eventually, the arcade catches on because these kids kept coming in and redeeming tickets, although they never even played a single game there. Boss, something's weird here. The managers are confused, and the machines get checked. And after that, the key didn't work anymore. But by that point, this kid had so much random stuff that he was fine with it. I regret nothing. Legendary barter system. This is insane. So this one school's cafeteria used real silverware, actual metal forks, knives, and metal spoons. And every day after lunch, kids are supposed to take the silverware and put it in these tubs right next to the garbage can so the school can wash them. But over the course of like 5 months, the school began noticing their supply of spoons was dwindling. What in the world is happening to our spoons? The lunch staff thought the kids were accidentally throwing these spoons in the garbage, so they began making announcements and posters.
Attention students, make sure you put the silverware back in the tubs. Don't throw them away.
But it didn't stop. You're missing hundreds more spoons now, guys. Hundreds? Nobody had any clue what the heck was happening because it wasn't a whole school issue. It was one kid. Every day at lunch, he would pocket a spoon or 2 or 3, but never more than 4 a day. Not for a plan or a prank. He was just like collecting them. I like spoons. He kept them inside his locker in a flimsy grocery bag hanging from the hook. Months go by. The bag gets heavier and heavier. The plastic grocery bag stretches thinner and thinner. Then one morning before first period, as the hallway is packed and it's loud, he swings open his locker, and the bag finally gives out. It rips straight down the middle, and hundreds of metal spoons start pouring out of his locker onto the floor. And the sound is insane, like someone dropped an incredibly heavy toolbox down a flight of stairs. Once they all fall, he just stands there staring at the pile on the hallway floor. It's the end of an era. Within 5 minutes, the entire school knew what had been happening with the spoons. He got into big trouble. The rest of that year, they called him Spoon Kid, and he was kind of a legend. Gotta respect Spoon Kid. There was this girl on the swim team named Maddie. Hey! And Maddie hated swim practice more than anybody alive. Because every day after school, the team had to get on this humid, disgusting bus and drive across town to the Park District pool. The bus had towels everywhere. The chlorine smell always trapped in the seats. Some kid always eating goldfish crackers for no reason. They're delicious. They're so good. Then after they get to the pool, 3 straight hours of misery would begin. Sprint laps, flip turns, the coach screaming, "Swim faster, you idiots!" People were literally throwing up after they were done. Then one day during practice, the lifeguard suddenly blows the whistle. Everybody out of the pool! Apparently, on the other half of the pool, a kid taking swim lessons pooped, and swim practice was canceled instantly. Everybody goes home, and Maddie realizes this is a life hack. So the next week, she goes to swim practice unusually happy. Hidden in her hoodie pocket is a fake plastic poop from the prank store. Halfway through practice, everyone is exhausted doing their sprints. Maddie casually swims to the deep end, drops the fake poop in, and pushes off the wall. At first, nobody notices. Then one kid surfaces and goes, "Poop! Poop!" Instantly, people begin freaking out. Everyone's climbing out of the pool. The lifeguard blows the whistle. The coach looks, "Yep, that's poop." Pool gets shut down, practice gets canceled. At this point, the coach and the swim team had left, but the lifeguards, as they began to clean, they realized this is not a real poop. Nobody ever proved it was Maddie. And from that day on, if a poop showed up, they made sure to check if it was real before practice was canceled. But for that day, she got half the practice off, and she was so proud of herself. Most kids start a lemonade stand to make some extra cash, but Dax was playing a much darker game. He opened a barber shop in his garage, and even though his fades were terrible, every kid was lining up for a $5 buzz cut. Step up, who's next? It was like the social event of the summer. Everybody was hanging out, listening to music, laughing at how bad the haircuts were. Bro, you look goofy. What? But Miles noticed something weird. After every haircut, Dax was picking up some of the hair and putting it in a Ziploc bag. Once the day was over, Dax had cut like 15 people's hair. Miles stuck around and asked him, "Bro, why were you putting your hair in bags?" "Hey,
Check this out. He brought him to a shelf, and on that shelf was hundreds of Ziploc bags. Each of them had hair in it, and each of them were labeled. This is Miles from August 12th. This one is Cooper from July 4th. Look at all these. I had the genetic blueprint of the entire 8th grade right here, labeled and dated. Miles just laughed. Bro, you're weird. But Dax leaned in. Everybody thinks I'm a bad barber, which is true, but they don't realize I got a much bigger plan. Next time someone does me dirty, steals my seat at lunch, makes fun of me, I'm gonna find a crime scene anywhere, and I'm gonna drop their hair right in the middle of it. What? Let's say Miles calls me a loser. Well, I hear sirens. I follow the sirens. A crime scene. There was a murder. Miles goes right on the floor. The police. Whose hair is this? They go to the computer. It's Miles. Miles goes to prison for murder. Bro, that is so messed up. And it was. And obviously, that really wouldn't work. But Miles made sure to stay Dax's friend, just in case. You would hate for some of his hair to end up at a crime scene.
This kid rode his bike to a grocery store. Yeah. He's using some of his summer job paycheck money to buy some snacks, chips, and sweets. He buys them, goes outside, and sets down the bag while he's unlocking his bike. Okay, I'll set you right here, unlock the bike. When he unlocks his bike and looks around, the bag is missing. Where is it? That's when he sees this kid, younger than him, stuffing this stuff in his backpack. And the kid runs home. Yo, what the heck? That's it, I'm gonna follow him. He takes his bike and follows his kid in his house. Knocks on the door. The mom answers. Yes? He stays calm. Yeah, your son took my stuff. I got some groceries and some snacks. I saw him put it in his backpack and run away. I just want it back. My kid would never steal. I saw him do it. If you don't leave my house right now, I'm calling the police because of harassment. Well, he doesn't leave. They call the police, and 5 minutes later, the cops show up. They hear both sides. They then say, "Kid, open your backpack, please." Okay. And there the stuff was. Chips, sweets, everything. Yeah. Give it back, please. Give him the stuff bag. Cops leave, the mom shuts the door in this kid's face, and they go their separate ways. But that's so embarrassing for that mom. That kid didn't learn anything, because a couple days later, he went to the guy's house that he stole stuff from, and he threw eggs at it. What a little jerk.
Most teachers have a confiscation drawer, usually full of phones, gum, fidget spinners, but this one teacher had a crazy policy. If it's on your desk and it's not a pencil or your work, it's mine until June. She wasn't joking, she was basically like a frickin' pirate, and her desk was the treasure chest, baby. By May, her desk would look like a mix between a museum and a flea market. Stuff everywhere. She had a stack of rare Pokemon cards, a half-finished crochet project from a student trying to make a hat during a test. There were some lucky rocks, and I kid you not, a waffle maker. On the last day of school, everyone would line up. This is to get their stuff back, or at least they hope. But this teacher, see, she didn't just hand it over. Everything on the desk is up for auction. You see, all year, she had been tracking these classroom points. Points you would get from doing well on tests, doing well on homework, good behavior. And at the end of the year, for this auction, that was the only currency that she wanted. Well, the kid who owned the waffle maker only had 50 points. The straight A kid had 500 points. Yeah, I want the waffle maker. Oh, man. But there was a bidding war. All I wanted, 150 points, 200 points. At the end of the day, pretty much everyone walked away with something that wasn't theirs to begin with. And honestly, that sounds kind of fun. If I were in that class, I would rack up those points as much as I could, and I would take all the stuff. That's crazy.
This kid tried to outsmart the dress code. He was in 7th grade and his school had one of those weird rules. Your bangs couldn't go past your eyebrows. That was the line, just the eyebrows. So one day a teacher pulls him aside. Hey, come here. Yeah? Get a haircut by tomorrow or there will be consequences. Usually a kid would then have their parents trim their hair. But not this guy. He went home angry. I'm going home and I'm angry. And he starts thinking like a lawyer. Hair can't go past your eyebrows. Then it hits him. If I don't have eyebrows, then there's nothing for the hair to go past. He felt like a genius, so that night he took a razor and he shaved his eyebrows clean off. Shows up to school the next morning proud. The same teacher sees him. What did I tell you about your hair? Come here. Well, miss, I'm actually fine now. Not breaking any rules because I don't have eyebrows anymore. She was not impressed. And he still got into trouble and still had to trim his hair. But hey, Nice try. The most uncomfortable dinner ever. So this kid gets invited to his friend's house for dinner. Everyone's sitting at the table and the drinks are poured. This kid said that he wants milk, please. He gets poured milk. Everyone else gets poured their drinks and they start to eat dinner. But then he takes a sip of his milk. But the entire table stops eating and stares at him. The dad slowly looks at him, dead serious. In this house, we do not drink until you finish your meal. Wait, he repeats himself. In this house, we do not drink until we finish our meal. He's like, okay, yep, got it. Will not drink my milk until my meal's gone. He was horrified. Hey, bro, you should apologize to my dad. Seriously? Yes. And I'm really sorry, sir. Once they were all done eating, his friend's dad tried to punish him. He said, because of what you did at dinner, I want you to take your shoes off and run 3 laps around the house. Mind you, it was freezing cold outside and there was snow on the ground. This kid just said, no, I'm not doing that. He called his mom picked him up, she told her what happened, and he never went there ever again. What kind of dad does that? This family is so weird. So this kid gets invited over to his friend's house, and it's a normal day at first. We were swimming and hanging out. It was whatever. But the setup to the house is already weird. To get to the backyard pool, you have to walk straight through the parents' bedroom. And on the walls of the bedroom, it was just pictures of my friend's mom. Hundreds of them. In different costumes, hundreds of framed pictures all over the walls. In a cowboy costume, in an Elmo costume, in a horse costume where she was the head of the horse and his dad was the butt. So he's already like, yeah, this house is weird. But it gets worse. Later that day, they all go inside and the friend's mom goes, okay, who wants some ice cream? I was like, heck yeah, I love ice cream. She scoops the vanilla into the bowl and hands it to him. But then she grabs a bottle from the fridge and says, do you want ranch on it? I didn't know how to answer, but I assumed it was a joke, so I just laughed and said, no, I'm okay. She just looks confused. And then her son, this kid's friend, says, I'll take some, Mom. Dude, it's so much better with ranch on it. Then the dad walks in, he grabs a bowl. Oh, this looks good. Who's got the ranch? I'm just sitting there watching them all eat vanilla ice cream with ranch on it, and they're looking at me like I'm the weird one. Hey, I never went back to that house ever again. This kid pulled a prank that caused the school so much trouble. And nobody ever found out it was him. It starts with him at a dollar store. He finds these bottles of concentrated bubble bath soap. This looks fun. Like a tiny amount of this stuff would make a ton of foam. This gives me an idea. So he buys a bunch of them, fills his entire gym bag. Now this kid knows the school's layout. He knows where all the cameras are. He knows where their cameras aren't. So one weekend he sneaks inside the building. We're in. He makes it secretly all the way to the pool. The school pool. Looks around, it's empty. Obviously, it's like 10 p.m. on a Saturday. He unzips his bag and he just starts dumping this bubble bath soap into the pool. Bottle after bottle. Then he just leaves. He doesn't stick around. Didn't even wait to see what happened. Well, flash forward to Monday. He gets to school, and there's literally foam everywhere, bursting through doors, filling the hallways. The entire pool room has foam up to the ceiling. Yo. The principal's freaking out. Cancel school! This is an emergency! The kids are laughing. The entire school is talking about this. But here's the thing that this kid did not think about. That foam doesn't just sit there. It gets into the filtration system, into the tubes, the pipes. The entire pool had to be shut down. For weeks. It had to be drained, rinsed, and drained like 4 times to make sure all the soap was gone. The biggest problem is that school was known for its water sports, so the polo team and the swim team had to change their entire schedules and share pools with different schools. And the craziest part, this kid didn't even tell anybody. The situation was so bad he couldn't even brag about it to his friends, so he just stayed silent. Until now. This kid's taking a math test one day when something falls out of her pencil case. The teacher sees the piece of paper on the ground. Oh, Stacy, I saw that. Pick up that paper and go to the office. No cheating in my class. No, I wasn't cheating. Nope, go to the office. No, seriously, I wasn't cheating. Just read it. Take the note and go to the office now. Jeez, lady's going a little crazy, huh? But this girl then goes to the office. So now she's walking through the hallways, carrying her backpack, while the teacher follows behind her. She grabbed a different faculty member to watch the class while she left. They get to the principal's office. Stacy, sit down. What's going on here? I caught her with a cheat sheet. Cheating during our test. Go ahead. Hand him the piece of paper. Teacher looks at Stacy. Stacy looks at the principal. The principal looks at Stacy. Here. Go ahead. Read the note. The principal takes the paper and reads it out loud. Eggs, bacon, window cleaner, popcorn, Cheez-Its. This is a dang grocery list. Yeah, I know. I'm going to the store after school for my mom. I wasn't cheating. You crazy teacher. Mrs. Johnson, are you serious right now? Oh, I could have. Is there somebody watching your class right now? Yes, Mrs. Carroll is. Good. Stacy, go back to class. We're having a chat. That's karma. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a subscriber submission. In 4th grade at his school, they had something called a breakfast break. It was kind of like lunch, but for breakfast. Well, during this break, him and his friends would sell energy drinks, chips, candy, snacks, you name it. And they would sell it out of a cardboard cutout of a store. Well, business was kind of slow. Until one day, the popular kid walked by and bought an energy drink. They thought nothing of it. But apparently, this popular kid had a great customer experience. So he told all of his friends about this breakfast break convenience store these kids set up. And guess what? Their business absolutely skyrocketed. And then one day during that break, everybody came to get some snacks from their little store. This dude said it became a riot. People were fighting each other. Teachers were freaking out because it was like 200 kids in the hallway and that's a fire hazard. Some kids wanted to buy stuff so bad that they threw firecrackers in the crowd to scare some kids away. Well, eventually this business was shut down by one of the teachers. Well, he said that the teacher that shut him down stole all their candy and ate it with her coworkers. But in total, they made $700. This kid wore a fake cast for Halloween one day. The costume was simple. Sweatpants, old hoodie, and a cast. I guess he was going as a kid with a broken arm. But on Halloween, no one's telling him, hey, I like your costume. Everyone's saying, oh my god, are you alright? And asking to sign his cast. Yeah, you can sign it. People are holding doors open for him. The teachers are letting things slide. So he keeps the cast on another day. The lunch lady's giving him extra food. One guy even carried his backpack for him. So he wore it for the whole week. People are constantly asking, hey bro, how'd it happen, man? And this guy's so dumb, he changed his story every time. Skateboard accident, or bike crash, or I fell out of a tree. And no one's comparing notes, so nobody notices it. Then things start escalating. The teacher lets him not carry his textbooks. He got extra time on an assignment. Then one day gym class happens. It's a pretty big class with a lot of students in it. And then there was a substitute. The sub asked, hey kid, how'd you break your arm? And he goes, football practice. And everyone's like, wait, hold on a minute. I thought it was a skateboard accident. I thought it was a tree. I thought it was a bike. He was caught up. They found out he's been faking. And he was the most hated kid for the rest of the year. That's hilarious. This kid never got in trouble. He was quiet. He got good grades, which is why nobody suspected him when everything started. It begins during first period. Some girl in this class suddenly jumps out of her seat. The teacher runs over. Then immediately after, someone hears another scream from a different classroom. And then every 15 minutes, all day, from all around the school, screams. Because why? The screams meant somebody found a mouse. But it's not normal mice. Bright blue mice. Pink mice. Green mice running through the classrooms and the school, and nobody knows where the heck they came from. And because each of these mice were a different color, they figured somebody had to have brought these into school. So they started going around and searching people's backpacks. But what nobody knew was that that quiet kid, that smart kid, was preparing for this for weeks. You see, I have a pet snake at my house. He eats mice. I've been stockpiling them, and he was dyeing them different colors using Easter egg dye. Then, on the day of the prank, he shows up to school wearing a trench coat, and he'd modified the inside of the coat so it could fit all of these mice. And all morning long on that particular day, he would walk through the school and slowly, one at a time, drop a mouse here, drop a mouse there, drop a mouse everywhere. The funniest part was nobody knew it was him. The only reason we know is because he shared the story. He's an old guy now. But the sad part is, most of those mice died that day. Rest in peace. We thought you were cool! Leave my classroom! There was this teacher everybody liked. He's the kind of teacher that would sit with students at lunch and joke around with them. So one day during lunch, this group of kids is sitting with this teacher. It's a normal lunch and they're talking and laughing with him. Then everybody heads off to class. Well, I guess some students in the cafeteria that day trashed it, and the janitor was furious. Stupid kids making a big mess. I'm gonna complain. This janitor tells administration, everyone's talking. I guess this janitor really wanted whoever made this mess to get in trouble. Well, somehow, the cool teacher heard about this and blamed the kids he was sitting with. I was sitting next to Billy, Kevin, Kyle, Steven. They made the mess. Now, all those kids get called to the office. We didn't make the mess at all. Yeah, we were just eating our lunch, chilling, talking. No, yeah, we were sitting by Mr. Erickson. He can vouch for us. But the principal's like, well, kids, he's actually the one that turned you in. The kids feel betrayed. They go to his classroom after school. Yo, dude, why'd you tell the school that we made a huge mess during lunch? We were literally talking to you about GTA 6. Yeah, what? All the teacher did was this. I don't know. Now get out of my classroom. But that's not where it ends. All those kids went home. But the teacher personally called each and every one of those kids' parents to tell them that they trashed the lunchroom, which is a complete and utter lie. And that's the day all those kids learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes the teacher knows they're innocent, but it doesn't matter anyway. This teacher and this one kid argued every single day, constantly butting heads. Johnson, look at me. No, you look at me. It's one of those things where every single class, kids are just waiting for some crazy stuff to go down between these two. Well, one afternoon, this teacher's fed up with this kid and says, Johnson, if you keep talking, we're gonna have a problem. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. If you keep talking, I'm gonna call your mother. The kid just goes, do it. The teacher goes, oh, I will. My mom's gonna agree with me anyway. The teacher didn't like him talking back. You know what? Just go to the office right now. Go right now. Leave my classroom. Okay. He walks out of the classroom for 1 second, and then he comes back in. You know what? I'm gonna call my mom for you. He dials, it's on speakerphone, it's ringing, and his mom picks up. Hey mom, my teacher wants to talk to you. Teacher was panicked, didn't know what to do. The entire class is laughing. Here, I'm gonna hand you over to her. She takes the phone, and she hangs up. He was still sent to the office, but she kinda looked like a joke after that. He slept through every single math class. The teacher talking, he was asleep. Putting notes up on the board, dude was knocked out. Everybody got used to seeing him face down on his desk. Well, one day the teacher was absolutely sick of this. I'm absolutely sick of this. One morning, the teacher stopped in the middle of the class and he wrote a complicated problem on the board. He then told the person sitting next to this kid, hey, Billiards, wake him up. Hey, wake up, man. The teacher then says this. Since you've been paying attention so closely all class, solve this problem for me. You have 4 minutes. The whole class is waiting for this kid to get embarrassed. He immediately walks up to the board. He's still exhausted. He takes the marker. He begins writing. 3 seconds later, he says, done. The teacher's like, yeah, no way. Let's see. It was perfect. The kid sits back down and puts his head right back on the desk. A few days later, the teacher tries again. Wake him up, I got a really hard one this time. Bro, 273.67. That's correct. It becomes a thing. He tried a few more times before he just stopped bothering him. Just let him sleep throughout every single class because he always got A's on the test and he always did his homework. So why can't the kid sleep? Yeah, this girl goes to a sleepover at her friend's house. She's about 10 years old, and everything is normal. It's a nice house, it's a nice family. Nothing weird, but then bedtime rolls around, and that's when she notices something. You see, her friend has 5 brothers, and all 5 of them share one giant room. She walks past. It's filled with bunk beds. No decorations at all. No posters, nothing like that. It looks like a frickin' barracks. Then the mom starts getting everybody ready for bed. And apparently the boys had a nightly routine. All right, boys, line up. All 5 brothers line up. And she starts inspecting them one by one. Shirts tucked in? Good. Jeans on? Good. Belt fastened? Good. You all look very dapper. Now go to bed. And sends them off to bed. She asks her friend, do they do this every night? Her friend's like, yeah, every night. And just think about how weird that is. No pajamas. In fact, the mom is making them wear a t-shirt, jeans, and a belt to sleep. And then she notices something in there. Each of those bunk beds doesn't have a blanket on it. And the brothers acted like it was completely normal. Now you see, alarm bells are going off in my brain. Someone should probably call DCFS, because that sounds sus. This kid went to a Catholic school in Florida. Flow right up. And if you've ever been to Florida, you know that there are lizards everywhere. On walls, sidewalks, just chilling by the pool. It's a lovely day. So one day, this little lizard gets inside this school building. It's in a classroom. And everyone's freaking out for some reason. The teacher's consistently saying, nobody touch it! Nobody touch it! And this one kid thought she was scared. That's why she was saying it. So he chased the lizard around. He picked it up. He caught it. Don't worry, miss. I got it. I'll go put him outside. The teacher then gets really weird. Oh, you shouldn't have touched the lizard. Why? You just invited the devil into your soul. That's funny. No, I'm serious. Get in the hall. She then sends this kid out into the hallway and calls this nun to come up. The nun then takes him to the chapel part of school where she prayed over him for the rest of the day. And this kid is sitting there. The nun also made the kid watch her kill the lizard with a cross. I'm not sure what kind of Florida Catholic school this is, but that's crazy.
একটা ভালোবাসাকে একটা সম্পর্ককে আমার আসলে দুটো নারী থেকে একটা নারীকে বেছে নিতে হয়েছে
যেখানে কোনো সম্ভাবনা নেই সেখানে আপনার জীবন জড়িয়ে নষ্ট করে কি লাভ
আমার একটা মা আছে হ্যাঁ মার কোলের ভিতরে তো বসে থাকি দায়িত্ব অনেক
তোর তো কিছুই ঠিক নাই তুই আমার সাথে আয় তো আমার সাথে আয় না।
এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট আপনার একটা মাস্টার্স কোর্স করতে হবে ওয়াই হোয়াট ইজ দিস ম্যান
ওই স্মোক করবো আই হ্যাভ স্মোক
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, কিচ্ছু করতে হবে না, আমি গোসল করে দেবো, শান্ত ছেলের মতো বসে থাকবা। হ্যাঁ, প্রমিস?
কবিগুরু বলেছেন ভাবুন আমি হাঁটতে যাবো আমার পেট বড় হয়ে যাবে না হবে
তোর সুখের জন্য আমি সব করতে পারি, তুই তুই এভাবে ভেঙে পড়িস না, তুই ভেঙে পড়লে আমার খুব কষ্ট হয়।
আচ্ছা, চোখের গভীরতা কতটুকু পেলে?
ও সরি, আমি আমার কাকে কি বলি? তুমি তো আমার 1,00,000 টাকা বেতনের চাকরিই করো না, তুমি কি দিবে?
আমি বুঝি আমার মেয়ের সিকিউরিটি। শোনো, তোমাকে 15 লাখ টাকাই দিতে হবে একটা, কিন্তু আমি এখানে এক মুহূর্ত আর থাকবো না, আমার এখানে দম বন্ধ হয়ে মারা যাবো আমি।
শৈলী রাতে বাড়িতে চলে এসেছে, তাছাড়া
তুমি যাচ্ছ বিপরীতে আবেগ বাড়ছে বহু।
ভাই আজকে না ভাই, বুঝছেন কাজের চাপও বেশি আর বাসায় ফিরতে হবে। সিঙ্গেল মোড
মানে পরিচিত কোনো আদার্স ভালো অপশন যদি থাকে সেখানেও আমাকে একটু রেফার করেন।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, তুমি প্যারা নিও না।
ওইভাবেই বাবার সাথে কথা বলবো। এখন তুমি কি বলো বলো, কিন্তু এখন আমাদের একটা সুস্থ জীবনে ফিরে আসা উচিত, একটা নর্মাল লাইফ লিড করা উচিত।
না হলে না হবে, আমার কোনো প্যারা নাই তো। আরে চাকরিটা
আর কত বলবো তোরে?
শোনো মা, প্রোগ্রাম আছে, ওটা শেষ করেই আসবে, আমাকে বলেছে, কথা হয়েছে।
আর আসছে যেমন ছেলে।
হ্যাঁ বাবা।
সবসময় কি পাওয়াতেই সুখ? তোমার গল্পটা না হয় না পাওয়াতেই হলো, তাতে ক্ষতি কি?
আস্তে থাকো গাইতে থাকো অনেক কথা মুখর আমায় দেখো।
আমি ওকে ভালোবাসি বাবা।
আমি জানি তুই ওকে ভালোবাসিস, ও সুস্থ থাকলে তো কোনো কথাই ছিল না।
জুতায় গাড়ি করতেছে তোর ও জোড়া আকাশ থেকে নেমে এলো ছোট্ট একটি প্লেন, আমি কুচলো মেরে চলো ভাইয়া, ওর লুকাতে হবে। পালাও। বুঝেছি, কবিগুরু বলছে যে বুঝাইলে নাকি বিপদ হয়। আমার বিপদ হয়ে গেছে, জুতো চুরি হয়ে গেছে আমার।
যখন টাকা হবে তখন নিয়ে যাবো, তারপর সেই জাহাজ নামাবো কোথায় যেন, সমুদ্রে ইসম আমি পাগল মাছ কয়া
আমি এটা খেলে কি তোমাকে মারবা?
না তুমি তো খাচ্ছ, আমি কি তোমাকে মারতেছি?
কবিগুরু রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুর বলেছেন সব ষড়যন্ত্র এই মির্জাফরের।
বাবা বারবার বলতেছে কারা জানি কেউ মারছে, একটু সাহস হয়েছে নাকি?
জানি না।
জানি না মানে? আমি তো ভাবলাম একটু একটু বেড়েছে, তা না হলে এখানে ডাকলে